Morning, everyone. Great to see you this morning. For a moment there, I thought we were going to skip winter, go from fall to spring, but I guess I was wrong on that, huh? Well, welcome to Vineyard Church Southwest. It's great to see everyone. And we're still a new church. We're almost 4 months old. And as a new church, we want to make sure that we get started on the right foot. And I think the right foot to get started on is prayer. And so the leadership team, which is myself and my wife and Brian and Teresa and Karen, and we get to know those people as you are here. We spent the weekend in prayer pretty much, and prayer is an important thing. We want to be a church that prays because we believe that prayer really moves the hand of God. And this Wednesday, we're having an evening of prayer where the leadership team and the prayer team will be there. If you want to come by and receive prayer, we would love to pray for you. We'll be at my house at 7 o'clock. There's maps to my and my wife's house. And if you want to come for the whole time, we'll start at 7. That's great. If you want to just come for a few minutes and receive prayer, we would love to pray for you and believe with you that God's going to do wonderful things in your life. Let me pose an opportunity to you. Say that you can hook yourself up to your brain, up to a machine, like this young man right here, this happening young guy right there. He's got his brain hooked up to a machine. And that machine would stimulate your brain so you would have a constant flow of pleasurable thoughts and feelings. Nothing but good thoughts and feelings. You would never experience anything negative. You'd never experience failure or disappointment or discouragement. I hate discouragement. I hate discouragement. I hate it. But there's a catch. There's always a catch, I guess. Once you hook yourself up to this machine, you can never unhook yourself. And once you hook yourself up to it, you never know that you're hooked up to a machine. You live in this world of fantasy. But it's good fantasy. Never experiencing anything bad. You can be anything you want. You can be the greatest athlete in the world. You could play for the New York Yankees and bat 500. You could be a great pop star, singer, or an actor or an actress, or you could win the lottery every day. But it wouldn't be real, it would be fantasy. But you wouldn't know it wasn't real. I don't know anybody that would do that. But why is that? I mean, don't we all like pleasure? Isn't pleasure good and pain bad? But pleasure is not the highest goal of humanity. You ever met anybody that lives for pleasure? They're not very happy. It's kind of ironic. Their goal is nothing but pleasure in life, but the amount of pleasure compared to the amount of pain is really out of balance. A lot more pain than they have pleasure. But the bottom line is, God didn't create us just for pleasure. God created us at our deepest being to be these people of free will that engage in reality, and we make decisions about that. That's what our existence is. Now, some of those decisions can be very simple. It can be as simple as walking down the street and deciding whether to go right or whether to go left. Or they could be a little more profound decisions as to what career I'm going to pursue, who I'm going to marry, my fantasy football picks, those things like that. But the most profound decision that I make as this free moral agent, this free person that engages in reality, is whether or not I will love God and whether or not I will love my fellow human being. Those are the most important decisions that we make, the most profound decisions that we make. Romans 12:10 says this, "Be devoted to one another in brotherly love." The decision to love someone is more important than any decision that I make in life. It's an eternal decision. It has eternal consequences. More important than where I live and what career I pursue or who I marry. When I make that decision to actively participate in the life of someone else, to make their life better, then that is an eternal decision that I make. Today the title we're going to talk about is life groups. A life of participation. As I said, we're a new church, and we're not quite 4 months old as far as being public. And how many of you were with us when we met at Brian and Charity's house on the, okay, yeah, we got quite a few. Every Sunday afternoon we'd meet at Brian and Charity's house before the church went public. That was phase one. I talked about these phases. Phase two is when we actually had a public service, which was September 25th. How many was there for the first public service? Okay. And now we're entering phase three. Phase three is where we're going to launch our life groups. And a life group is a gathering of 6, 8, 10, 12. Could be odd numbers, 9, 7, 9, 11, 13. Doesn't have to be either. They come together in a home for the purpose of worship, for the purpose of studying the Bible, for encouraging each other, for praying for each other. A life group is a wonderful thing. And as long as this church is here, I believe life groups will be a very important part of that. It's a great way to participate in someone else's lives. Sunday morning is a great thing. I love Sunday morning. Lots of good things happen on Sunday. We get to hear the Word, hopefully in a powerful way. We get to worship together. We get to invite our friends. Most people who come to Christ through coming to a Sunday morning service. That's just the statistics. But there are things that we can do here that we can do in a small group that we just can't do here. Sometimes we have to sit face to face to each other in order to engage in their life, in order to do the things that God has called us to do, to be the people that God has called us to be. I invite you to watch this video.
With a bucket full of challenges. But hey, it's not like it's rocket science. Hello, I'm Dr. Marvin Orville Glauben with Triple C Laboratories. We exist for the sole reason of clearing up the fog that confuses a proper understanding of the Christian lifestyle. The third one, sounds like a donkey or monkey, correct? I confirm. Take, for instance, church small groups. The idea of stepping outside a large church environment that induces anonymity and into a smaller community that induces vulnerability makes some people so nervous it induces vomiting. A larger church experience is certainly of the utmost importance, for it solidifies the spiritual and the philosophical, but the personal. For what you believe to turn into how you live, you must be connected with people. People who know you and love you and are willing to walk through life with you. Life can be treacherous. It takes a God-serving community who truly knows the specifics of your life to serve as reinforcements. Life was never meant to be lived in solitude. One can have all the head knowledge of Christianity in the world, and yet, if he attempts to live it all alone, he's sunk. Clever phrasing. That is the beauty of the small group. We believe it is going to make life more complicated, when in reality, it makes life more doable. It's just like my fingers. Here's the church, and here's the steeple. Open the door, and all are spiritually emaciated from head knowledge with no practical application. Here's the house, here's the chimney. Open the door, and a smaller country of individuals becomes immersed in a positive habitual cycle of reinforced faith living. Now, host small group. Here's the church, here's the steeple. Open the door. The church is full to bursting with people hungry for what they see alive in the lifestyles of healthy attendees who have their faith reinforced through small groups. That is the purpose of small groups. That theory may become practicality, and that truth believed may become truth lived daily. I'm Dr. Marvin Orville Glauben, and small groups are not rocket science.
All right, thank you, Dr. Orville Glauben, for that. But we call our small groups life groups. And we believe that a life group, a small group, an interaction with Christians at a small setting is just vital to really becoming the people that God has called us to be and to grow in faith. So if you want to take out your outline there, we'll work on that. So when I enter into a life of participation, I enter into a life of learning. Psalm 119:73 says this, "Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding to learn your commands." Now, most of the Bible is fairly easy to understand. For instance, the Bible says that we're not supposed to gossip. Now, we can do a Bible study on gossip and look up the word gossip in the original language, which is Greek, and I did that. And the word is pasitharismos. Do you know how many times I practiced that this week to say that right? Pasitharismos. Pasitharismos has this background of whispering. And it also, this particular word has this connotation of a snake charmer, as he whispering murmurs this snake into rising from its basket or wherever it happens to be. So you have the connotation that gossip is this whispering that conjures up this evil, because the snake is always a symbol of evil. Well, that's a pretty powerful image. But going beyond a powerful image, the real challenge is not to gossip. The challenge is not to really understand the image. The challenge is not to gossip. And sometimes people have a hard time not gossiping, especially if it's like really juicy stuff, you know? I mean, and guys, they gossip too. They do it a little more subtly, but it happens among guys. So the challenge is not just to understand and have this mental assent to what the Bible is saying. The challenge is actually putting this stuff into our day-to-day life. Actually participating in this type of life where these things are evident, where it becomes a part of me. And I can't do that by myself. I have to surround myself with people who are like-minded that will help me to become the person that God has called me to become. When I was in college, way back when, my first year of college, went to a little college in Springfield, Missouri, and kind of across the street, down the street, was the county fair. And one year they had a rodeo at this county fair. And I've never been to a rodeo. I went to the rodeo and saw the barrel racing and the calf roping. It was pretty interesting. But things really picked up when they released this bull into the arena.